Hey, Bulls and Bears, welcome back. Yes, we're back with another dose of economic reality. Now, I had to wait a little bit to put this video out. You might still hear my voice is kind of scratchy today, and that's because I went to a concert last night. It was a small concert, a small venue here in San Diego called Brick by Brick, and a little band called Cold. Not sure if any of you have ever heard of Cold. They were kind of popular back in the early 2000s. Anyways, I did a lot of singing along and just the talking. When you try to talk over loud music, even if you're in the back of the venue, it can kind of get to your voice after a few hours. So that's why I wanted to wait to put this video up. But we've got a lot to get into today. Economic financial news. The big news, of course, everybody's talking about it. Everybody in the financial world, anyways, is another rate hike. We're now up over 5%, and that's the first time we've been up over 5% since 2007. So connect the dots, folks. Things are playing out just like we've been predicting for years. More debt now than back in the financial crisis. Rates are higher now. It's no secret. It's no mystery, to how this ends. We've got more banks teetering on the brink, so to speak. We're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes. But first of all, with this recent rate hike now, another quarter of a percent hike. It's the highest Fed funds rate now in 16 years, the highest in 16 years. So this goes back pre-financial crisis. So obviously this is not going to end well. Pacific West Bank Corp weighing options for possible sale. So they're trying to get out in front of their imminent failure is what I get out of this here. This is out of investing.com. But everybody here knows the entire banking sector is insolvent. The reason that the rest of the banks haven't failed yet, all of them, is because not enough people have went to take their money out at once. If you look at what's happening right now, there's inflows to the big mega banks because people feel safer at the mega banks now than they do at the small local and regional banks because of what Janet Yellen said. She said these other banks, these small regional banks, they're not systemically important enough. I'm paraphrasing here. Not systemically important enough to guarantee that they're going to be propped up or to guarantee the depositors to be made whole if the banks fail. So naturally, we saw more huge outflows. And remember back in March when they tried to tell us that there was not going to be any contagion, that the banks were what was the phrase? Not safe and sound. I think it was safe and sound. There's a song called Safe and Sound, so I don't think it was Safe and Sound. I think I'm getting that from the song. Yeah, safe and sound, whatever that. Let's get into this here, though. So remember back in March, they said the banks were, maybe it was secure and sound. I know it was two words that started with an S, secure and sound, whatever it was. Well, guess what happened in April? More huge bank outflows. Bank deposits in the month of April fell by more than $76 billion. That's billion with a B. Despite recent bank closures, most Americans are still confident in banks. So even with most Americans still being confident, I guess they believe the words coming out of Yellen and others saying that everything is secure and sound or safe and sound, whatever it was. Most people just believe that. They believe that the same people that have got us into this mess are going to tell us the truth about how things are going to play out in the future. It's almost laughable. I mean, people sometimes ask me, how can you laugh during a time like this? Because we're in a crisis. Some people don't believe it or realize it, but it's just kind of funny sometimes when you think about how disconnected so many people are to reality. And why do people get lost in video games and TV shows and stuff like that? They want to escape reality. People don't even want to live in reality. That's why, we have all these just forms of entertainment that dominate so many people's lives. They don't want to accept reality. And that's why at the beginning of each episode, I try to say back with another dose of economic reality. So if you don't face reality, you're likely not going to be ready for what's ahead. Massive job losses, massive layoffs. People are going to take a very big pay cut. But yes, more than 76 billion drained in the month of April. Bit of a slowdown as far as how fast people are pulling their money out of their accounts. Is it going to stop? Of course not. I don't think so. I think it's actually going to accelerate as more banks fall like dominoes. And there's a couple more in the news here recently. We talked about PacWest Bank looking at a possible sale, but there's many, many more. Remember, all these banks are engaged in a fractional system of lending out money, meaning they don't actually have the money that they loan out. So it's basically magic money conjured into thin air with a click of a mouse, digits on a screen, and then they turn around and charge you and I interest when we have to borrow money. Pretty interesting how the whole system is set up. Basically, it's designed to fail. There's no way to pay off this debt. We've talked about many times about how even if you drained everyone in the United States, if you drained everyone's checking, savings account, etc., you still couldn't pay off the national debt. So that's how much of a joke, how ridiculous all this is. And again, I have to laugh. It's sad on one hand, but it's so ridiculous. Sometimes you just have to laugh. I try to always think of the positive side or the silver lining. People may not think so. People call me doom and gloom, but I try to just laugh at sometimes, things that maybe I shouldn't laugh at. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings or make light of the situation. It's just that it's so ridiculous. People that don't see this, it's almost comical to a level. It's a comical type of thing. I was even at a funeral one time, and I was, instead of sobbing, and of course I was sad. Instead of sobbing, I was at the funeral thinking about some funny things that this person and I used to do when he was alive. This was a friend of mine from my youth. And just thinking back, and people are kind of looking at me. Is he smiling? Is he laughing? But I was thinking about all the fun things. I think we have to do that. Think about, the bad times are here. Bad times are coming for a lot of people. But think about, the good times. Think about things you could still do to have fun. Ways you can survive this, and there's still, plenty of fun to be had, even in a deteriorating economy. And some of it is just looking at this news. This is, again, comical. What's playing out right now. Recent article here: the recent rate increase. How is it going to affect people with credit card debt and auto loans? Well, not good, because if you're trying to refinance, if you're getting behind on your payments, your safety net is gone. Your minimum payment on your credit card is going to be going up. More people every month not paying off their balances in full. So this is the direction that we're headed in. If we were headed in the other direction, I wouldn't sound like I sound. I would say, okay, people are paying off their debt. Less people are carrying balances from month to month. More people are paying off their card in full each month. That's not that's not happening. We're headed in the opposite direction. So obviously, that's what I'm going to report to you, whether you think it sounds negative or not. That's just what's happening. Doug Casey's out there on the debt ceiling and why the U.S. should declare bankruptcy, because the United States is bankrupt. Anytime you have to have an endless debt ceiling, that's the sign of financial insolvency. Why would you need an endless debt ceiling? They're talking about eliminating the debt ceiling completely, just getting rid of it. Just click of a mouse, and just no discussion, no debate, no legal process or anything like that. Just click a mouse and pump up that debt. Debt ceiling economist James K. Galbraith warns the recent debt ceiling proposal would gut the social safety net. So a lot of programs that people rely on just to get food and meals and keep a roof over their head could be in jeopardy. Are they going to not pass the debt ceiling? Are they going to, shut everything down? Well, we've seen temporary shutdowns before. Do I believe there's going to be a permanent shutdown because of the debt ceiling? No, I think ultimately they're going to work out a deal at the end. They try to drag it out to create the drama so everybody puts their eyes on it, and that way people will be relieved once it's passed. Oh, look at the heroes. They passed the debt ceiling. These people saved us, right? I think that's what they try to do. Another article here out of Unheard: America's empire is bankrupt. I mean, this stuff's going mainstream, folks. I mean, people are waking up and realizing, the economic reality here of the situation. And already in 2023, the banking collapse is officially bigger than the collapse of 2008. It's bigger as far as the number, the dollars, the billions of dollars that these failed banks have been wiped out, the amounts that have been wiped out, already worse than the financial crisis. So why aren't we calling this a financial crisis? This should be headlines in every newspaper. Financial crisis is here, financial crisis 2.0. The banking failures have already been bigger this year than they were during the financial crisis, which everybody now looks back and admits that there was a financial crisis, but yet we're not calling this the new financial crisis, or at least they're not reporting it that way. They don't want people to panic. They want you to be in the dark. They don't want you to know what's going on. Do you understand? You get it? You got it? Good. because we're going to need to be aware of what's going on here. Druckenmiller, hedge fund, super mega wealthy guy here, Stanley Druckenmiller, on America's debt crisis. Quote, "It's like watching a horror movie unfold." Horror movie unfold is what he said, unquote. Interesting words, horror movie. Well, I remember watching a lot of horror movies, and people do a lot of dumb stuff in horror movies. You ever notice that? I was watching I guess it was a thriller / horror movie, and there was some crazy guy in a truck trying to run over people and trying to run over this girl going down this road. It was like a 2-track road through the woods. And here's something really dumb she did. Instead of jumping into the woods, just get off the road, run through the trees. The truck's probably not going to be able to go through the trees very easily. But instead of going into the woods to get away from the truck, she runs down the middle of the trail, and of course the truck got it, right? That's just, it seems like a lot of horror movies, I think all horror movies have one thing in common, and that's a lot of dumb people that get themselves into these situations, and they do dumb things so they don't escape. Well, I can see why he's saying that this economy, this debt crisis, is like watching a horror movie unfold. So pretty interesting analogy. I guess I could kind of relate to what he's talking about there. Unity conducts third round of layoff, and this is the largest round of the year, so the layoffs are getting bigger for many companies here. Unity cuts 8% of its workforce. That's another San Francisco tech firm. If we haven't seen enough pain in the tech sector already, get ready for more. As we reported earlier, only 4 months into the year here, just barely over 4 months now. We're already at 70 retail bankruptcies, with ones like David's Bridal, Bed Bath & Beyond, just recent examples. At this pace, we're going to be over 200, which is going to make 2023 the worst year for retail bankruptcies ever. Worse again than the financial crisis, worse than 2020 with all the shutdowns / lockdowns / pandemonium. It's getting interesting, folks. Out of APT here, late night TV shows go dark as writers strike for better pay. Well, what happens when you have a higher cost of living, or a cost of living that's too high? You're always going to have people demanding higher pay. You're going to have strikes. Oh no, what are we going to do without the TV shows? I'm going to miss my sitcom. What am I going to do? People help me. I need a hug. My sitcom may not be on tonight. Just joking. I barely watch TV. Sometimes I'll tune into the financial news media. There's a couple of shows I do like. There's a new show out called iCrime. It's all about people catching just crazy things on their phones, right? Today, I was just watching it today. iCrime. Maybe check that out. One of the shows I watch. A person was getting their car repossessed. The vehicle was up on the tow truck. It was ready to be pulled away. The person that owns the car goes up to the truck, smashes in the window with a baseball bat. So now she's facing charges, and it's bad enough she's losing her vehicle. Now she's facing these was it misdemeanor assault? I don't know what the charge was, but yeah. So we're gonna see a lot more stories like that. iCrime. Maybe they'll go on strike though. Maybe that show won't be on. But it says here late night TV shows are going dark. So high cost of living, more people striking, demanding higher pay because they can't keep up with the cost of living because so many people are going into debt. Folks, this is a debt tsunami, a financial crisis, and the snowball is just getting bigger. And the scary part is we're just getting started. But we're in front of this. We have been expecting this for years. If you've been on this channel, you know exactly why and what is happening right now. It's not a mystery. It's not a head scratcher. But most people are still, like the article that we pointed at earlier, most people think things are under control. They don't think there's going to be any more contagion. Folks, going to be a lot of contagion. Get ready. I hope you guys like the support. Please give us a like and subscribe. Help keep this channel operational. I think there's certain entities out there that don't like the type of facts that I report, or how bluntly I report what I think is the truth and what I think most of us here agree is the truth and economic reality. So please help this channel stay alive, folks, and I'll see you back here next time. Big love. Keep stacking. Bye for now.